我们反对的是共产党，它给世界带来了恐惧。这个带来的恐惧的原因，就是因为我们懦弱、自私。他们70年来欺骗了全世界，威胁了中国人，才让中国共产党有今天在全世界的风格。大家想一想，我郭文贵如果去了其他国家，我的结局是什么？不是把我锯掉了，是直接把我放到机器里变成火腿肠了，锅式火腿肠。而且在座的很多华人朋友，你们根本没有机会站在这个舞台上，因为共产党70年来都是成功的。
Evil done in Victoria streets, painted red and one night. The handgun, the curtains untied, the undercounted bounce of treasures are counterfeit, marching outside. It's gully yards, they be working all night long. Nobody's left to go on the go for doubles back, smiling
These
on.
wicked kings, they sounded like a symphony. This internal, let me play out your ending.
他的恐吓，他的蓝天狂，他的威胁，让我们失去了尊严，失去了安全，失去了发声的自由和权利。我们感恩美国，我们感恩西方的媒体朋友们，与我们一起寻求真相，寻求正义。
How can the truth get exposed to places where no one goes? The simple smell of a rose, the secrets start to unfold. Every person wears a mask of fashion, reason and lie. Every action has a reason, that reason desire. Oh Father, 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 oh Father, Father, Father. In this life, how can we live without never sinning just once? We can forgive and forget, but we can live and let rest that cannot take the pieces that are come to you and set light up. I hear a step close behind me, familiar smell, a flashing light. The door opens, we're turning around, the pages blind, left and written. Touch, no, so unhappy, roll, roll, no, this much felt too much as though I know it's the end. Can't help but think of the reason I fought to defend. The only justice I knew now lives on silently, words written to be seen.
These wicked kings, they sounded like a symphony. This internal, let me play out your ending.
“共产党对西方的威胁，绝对不是我在这里能形容的。接下来用我们的行动来证明给所有的全人民看，共产党是世界上最大的毒瘤。共产党一天待在中国，它都是人类最大的威胁。”郭文贵总是有一句话，我们老家话深陷羊骨先搭线，我要用事实行动证明给你们。
Hi everyone, welcome to our show today. We are going to share with you the relationship between Iran and CCP. We will focus on the tight military and financial cooperation of these two totalitarian regimes. Ok, ça y est, on va. Iran's massive aerial attack marks the first direct strike by Iran on Israeli territory from Iranian soil. Iran called the attack Operation True Promise. The attack began on Saturday, 13th of April, about 20 GMT. It lasted about 5 hours. Israel's chief military spokesman Daniel Hagari said Iran's attack involved more than 120 ballistic missiles, 170 drones, and more than 30 cruise missiles. The Israeli military also said the vast majority of the projectiles were intercepted outside the country's borders with help from the US, the United Kingdom, and France. Jordan also shot down some of the missiles aimed at Israeli eyes. They were flying through Jordanian airspace. The Israeli government said that our defensive systems are deployed. We are ready for any scenario, both defensively and offensively. The state of Israel is strong. The Israeli army is strong. The public is strong. He also thanked his allies, including the US and the UK, for standing alongside Israel. Israel's war cabinet has met to discuss his response to Israel's unprecedented drones and missiles attack. Israel's allies have strongly condemned Iran's act, but urged Benjamin Netanyahu's government to show restraint. The Israeli military said more than 300 drones were launched at Israel. It said almost all were brought down by his forces, with support from the US, UK, France, and other countries. Before reaching their targets, no deaths were reported, and Israel said the damage was limited. World leaders have urged restraint amid concerns about a major escalation in tension in the Middle East. US President Joe Biden spoke to Mr. Netanyahu following the launch of the Iranian attack and reaffirmed Americans' ironclad commitment to the security of Israel. By the 14th of April, the US told Israel it would not join in any counter-strike on Iran. Joe Biden's administration committed a ceasefire that will bring the hostage home and prevent the conflict spreading more than it already has in the war between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip. You may already come to the conclusion that the CCP approved Iran's attack on Israel because Wang Yi said that actions Iranians taken was limited and was an act of self-defense. The CCP has shown to be a strong supporter of Iran government. They have recently carried out military exercise with Iran and remains Iran's biggest oil customer, defying US sanctions on the export of Iranian oil. With huge construction projects from the CCP's companies underway in Iran. In addition to trade links, Iran is the behest of Beijing, which remains a key partner amid sanctions. The CCP refused to condemn Iran's missiles and drone attack on Israel as it seeks to position itself as a key player in the Middle East. However, the close military relationship between the CCP and Iran did not start yesterday. In November 2016, the two countries signed a military cooperation agreement, not only to promote joint counter-terrorism training, military-to-military exchanges, and joint military exercises, but also to improve equipment and technology. Discussions between the two sides are said to include the CCP use of Iranian naval facilities and air bases in the Persian Gulf, as well as exchange of experience in, for example, meeting with the US military in the air and the at sea. Reportedly, between 2014 and 2018, the CCP and Iran conducted 12 military interactions, including bilateral exercise, high-level dialogue, and naval port visits. As we can see from the above reports that the Chinese Communist Party is a dark force behind Iran's terrorism. But not many mainstream medias and politicians around the world would dare to come out to say that the Chinese Communist Party is the most critical instigator behind the war in the Middle East. The question is, why did the CCP take control of Iran and start a war in the Middle East? Because the CCP knows that Western countries will hold CCP accountable for all the evil things they have done in the world. That's why the Chinese Communist Party will surely launch a series of wars in Iran, North Korea, Russia, Cuba, South America, launch a series of economic, technological, and even fire wars against the US and the West, and all the various weapons that the Chinese Communist Party is now developing are geared toward the destruction of the world. This is a key centerpiece of the war we are seeing in the Middle East right now. You dare to kill me, and I will drag all of you to hell, which is called mutually assured destruction by the CCP. What the media is reporting on the massive scale that Iranians, drones, missiles, and all of them are being intercepted by Israel, which is a good thing to celebrate. But are these really the only weapons the Chinese Communist Party and Iran have? Based on our founder of New Federal State of China, Mao's revelation during his live broadcast, we're going to give our viewers a rundown of what weapons Iran and the Chinese Communist Party have, what cards they have left to play, and what Israel, the United States, and Europe will be facing next. First, let's come to Hongqi missiles and the anti-ballistic missiles. The Hongqi missiles is a large shooter-fired version of American Stinger missiles repeating weapon. It was developed by copying and stealing American technology. The Hongqi missiles can be described as a combined platoon electronic-style swarming Stinger missile style system. So, which is cheaper and more accurate, and it is a big threat to United States and Europe. The Hongqi NFSC also has an anti-tactical ballistic missiles ATBM capability, which can intercept medium and short-range tactical ballistic missiles with a range of 1,000 kilometers. And the self-propelled ABM interception capability should exceed this target. Second, let's continue the Hongqi. NFSC air defense system uses an advanced fast array multifunctional guidance radar with excellent multi-target interception capability, and one fire unit is capable of simultaneously guiding 60 missiles and intercepting 8 incoming air targets at the same time. Okay, let's come to Dongfeng missile system. Okay, Dongfeng missiles are a family of short, medium, intermediate range, and intercontinental ballistic missiles that the Dongfeng 16 is a single-stage, solid near-range ballistic missiles with a range about 1,200 kilometers. The Dongfeng 17 is a multiple warhead installed on the body of the Dongfeng 16 missile, whose maximum speed exceeds Mach 10 and whose range is almost doubled, while his dimensions remain largely unchanged. The CCP's missile system is fully ready and open to all his strategic partners.
Remember this, the CCP would never transfer the technologies of their Dongfeng 15 and 41 missiles, especially the DF-41, to other countries. But in the past 20 months, during the pandemic, the CCP has invested heavily in missile technology and aggressively established overseas production bases without setting any limits. Where have the CCP set up the bases? There was a team of over 100 people in North Korea to help North Korea build missiles, launch vehicles, and construct roadbeds, seabeds, and foundations, which are underground. They are producing missiles that can be fired on the road from a truck, a train, a ship, or a submarine. This is how massive the expansion of production is. The CCP's missile system is fully ready and open to all of its strategic partners. I swear to God and am 100% sure that the United States does not get the whole picture about this. I told them before, but they did not believe it. They will believe in the future. I believe they will believe in the end, because this is happening. What is the second country? Iran. Iran's drone and missile production is at full steam. Here comes the most important one. Saudi Arabia. The missiles from there will shake the US. It will terrify America. The missiles that the CCP gave to Saudi Arabia are long-range ones that can reach the US. Moreover, Syria has many drones. Saudi Arabia has drones and has been producing a massive number of drones. Iran produces drones, too. Pretty soon, North Korea will show off its drones to the world. North Korea has purchased a large number of made-in-China, enhanced J-15 fighters. It is by the hundred, not the dozen. North Korea has all these fighters, missiles, and nuclear weapons. All the technologies for nuclear weapons will be provided to Iran, North Korea, and Saudi Arabia. From now on, humanity will face its biggest problems. What would you do if Saudi Arabia had nuclear weapons? Nuclear proliferation and missile proliferation. It was thought that they had short-range missiles that reached within 150 kilometers. Now they have missiles that can reach 10,000 kilometers. So, the CCP has provided missiles, nuclear weapons, nuclear technologies, and drones, and authorized the production technology of drones. When America wakes up, it will be too late for the so-called Indo-Pacific Strategic Force of the US in the Asia-Pacific area. This is huge.
Third, let's come to the spying balloons. The CCP can launch 10,000, 100,000, even 1 million balloons at the same time because the balloons are extremely cheap. They are real and fake surveillance balloons. The ones can carry biological and chemical weapons, cluster weapons, spy system, jamming system, and emerge from 39,000 kilometers or 37,000 kilometers in space and from the entire suborbital orbit. First, let's come to drones. Nuclear technology. The Chinese Communist Party has adapted the drones supply to Iran, increasing their capacity, particularly for the automated tracking, that is mobile Stinger missiles, specialized in attacking aircraft from 27 kilometers in the past to 50 kilometers to 120 kilometers. Fifth, bioweapon labs. In the early 2020s, the CCP built a bioweapons virus lab in Iran, 3 labs in Hong Kong for the two purposes. First target is the United States. Everything these 5 evil countries to threat U.S. national security. The biochemical virus is the most lethal and uncontrollable. It is the simplest cost. The second is the extermination of the Jews, in addition to Israel, Iran, and the countries of the Middle East, including Egypt and Pakistan, are all Muslim countries. Now, let's come to the number 6, military vaccine. With the COVID-19 vaccine disaster coming like tsunami, more and more people realize the COVID-19 vaccines are toxic, which is a biochemical weapon against humanity. However, there's only one country left in the Middle East that haven't been vaccinated by the COVID vaccine. That is Iran. Iran, with its meaning strong army, is the most powerful military force in the Middle East. But the Israel Defense Forces announced that his vaccination campaign had successfully given his troops herd immunity against the COVID-19, which it is said made it the first army to achieve that goal. According to the Torgaman, 81% to 85% of military had received the coronavirus vaccine. Besieging Wei and rescuing Zhao is what Xi and Putin really play in the Middle East.
Do you know the story of besieging Wei and rescuing Zhao and Sun Tzu? This is what Xi Jinping and Putin are playing, to surround Wei on the surface, but actually to save Zhao. On the surface, they attacked the Iraqi embassy, Syria, and Qatar's bases and asked Iran to avenge Soleimani. What was the real purpose? It's the oil supply line between Djibouti and Angola in East Africa. Once the Hormuz Strait is sealed, Iran's gas and the Middle East's gas, the European oil, will no longer cost 150 a barrel, but 500 a barrel, and no more. The US dollar is called the petrodollar. This is to avenge the US banning their SWIFT system. Isn't the SWIFT system based on the US dollar? I'll destroy the US dollars. Do you know that Putin has been waiting for this moment? As long as they still have gold and can use the RMB, they will let Iran, Syria, the Houthis, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq wage wars in the Middle East and cut off your oil and natural gas supply chains. This trick to wage the war in the Middle East, including all the shelling in Iraq yesterday, was all planned by the Chinese Communist Party, Putin, and Xi a long time ago. The plan is to launch a war in Ukraine and, at the same time, for the CCP to cooperate with Putin to intercept financial sanctions from the US and the West. These 5 evil countries are Communist China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and now the evil countries in the Middle East, including Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia. Pakistan was one of the evil 5. What these countries carry out in the Middle East is called besieging Wei and rescuing Zhao and Sun Tzu. That is, to destroy all the energy supplies of the entire world in the Middle East and wage wars. This is to avenge the US's SWIFT sanctions on Russia and even future SWIFT sanctions on the Chinese Communist Party, the decoupling of the Hong Kong dollar, and the interference in the attack on Taiwan. Xi and Putin will make the entire oil supply in the West collapse, especially in the United States. Although the US is a net exporter of oil prices still impact the American economy and employment. Then Europe is completely dependent on importing oil and energy. Once Europe runs out of oil and gas, it will compromise with Russia. It will continue to buy Russian oil and compromise on finance, stop SWIFT sanctions, and the CCP can attack Taiwan. This is called besieging Wei and rescuing Zhao. I can tell you what you will see next. The US military bases in Syria, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq will be attacked beyond your imagination, even by biochemical weapons.
It'll be pretty much true to say that all the opponents of the West are opponents of Israel. Israel is a Western-style democracy and have succeeded partly for that reason. His succeed is a threat to those countries which pursue a different path. The CCP has lighted cannibal in the Middle East, but what is strategic purpose? It has been betting that the US cannot fight 3 wars at the same time. The war in the Middle East is essentially a war between the US and the CCP, same as the Russian-Ukrainian war. As long as the US is restrained in those 2 places, the CCP think that the US will have no time and no energy to take care of Taiwan. But things always change at God's will. Here are some phrases from Japanese Prime Minister Kishida's speech to the US Congress. New forms of oppression are being imposed on the world. Freedom is being suppressed through digital technologies. Social media is censored, monitored, and controlled. Freedom is oxygen of humanity. The world needs the United States to continue playing his pivotal role in the affairs of the nations. This self-doubt is arising at this time when our world is at history's turning point. The post-Cold War era is already behind us, and we are now at inflection point that will define the next page of human history. The people of Japan are with you side by side to assure the survival of liberty, not just for our people, but for all people. The defense of freedom, democracy, and the rule of law is the national interest of Japan, and Japanese and US service members are working side by side to deter aggression and ensure peace. Global partners for the future, we are your global partner today, and we will be your global partner in the years ahead. The essence of this speech from the Japanese Prime Minister is that the US has unlocked the tiger, and Japan, as the world's second truly powerful military force, must defend Asia-Pacific security, especially CCP's possible attack on Taiwan. Back to Iran. How is it possible that Iran could have such military power without financial support? This is the final part of this episode. Following the money. Most of the funding for the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps come from the CCP's Bank of Kunlun. Bank of Kunlun has been challenged for the illegal and embargoed US sanctions against Iran. And it's the CCP that has set up such a money laundering bank exclusively for the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and 95% of his business is mainly processing payments from the CCP leaders' families' oil purchase from Iran, including bartering, where Iran trades the oil in exchange for CCP's weapons. All are processed by the Bank of Cologne. The Khamenei family and Iran as a whole is responsible for about $250 billion to $300 billion a year, and 80% or 90% of which goes to Khamenei family, and the vast majority of that money is laundered in the Bank of Kunlun and in Japan or Hong Kong or Taiwanese banks.
Most of the funding for the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps comes from the CCP's Bank of Kunlun Corporation Limited. I said 2 or 3 years ago that the CCP's Bank of Kunlun, the biggest money laundering bank for the Wang Qishan, Meng Jianzhu, and Jian families and Zhou Yongkang back in the day, was just a challenge to the U.S. embargo sanctions against Iran. But the CCP has set up such a money laundering bank specifically for Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and its main business, 95% of its business, is to process the payment of petroleum purchased by the CCP's kleptocracy families from Iran. Including what was later called the barter trade, the CCP gave them weapons and they gave petroleum, were all handled by the Bank of Kunlun. The CCP military exercise at this time with Russia and Iran is another step towards the death of the CCP. No one in the U.S. with a brain would accept the 3 evil forces of CCP: China, Russia, and Iran, plus Kim Jong-un and Turkey. Otherwise, Christianity and the Western world led by the U.S. would be finished. That's why the CCP, China, and Russia nurtured Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and especially Syria's Assad will definitely be hit by the United States. The vast majority of Syria's petroleum comes from Iran, and Syria's weapons come from Russia. Russia has allowed Syria to grow bigger and become a force for Russia to have a finger in the pie of the Middle East through the U.S. president and U.S. political miscalculations over the past few years. The five evil countries of Syria, Iran, Qatar, Turkey, and Kim Jong-un's North Korea are finally tightly linked together to challenge the United States.
In addition to Bank of Kunlun, the Chinese Communist Party's money laundering channels in support of Iran, such as the dark web, Bitcoin currency, and Binance, etc. Do you think the Americans don't know the Bank of Kunlun is funding Iran since its very start? From the report of Office of Foreign Assets Control on May 13th of 2013, based on information made available to the Treasury Department, the department has found that China's Bank of Kunlun has knowingly facilitated significant transactions for various Iranian-linked banks designated by the United States under our WMD, our terrorism authorities. It would be naive to believe that CCP would respect America's sanctions on Bank of Kunlun. Here is a report in December of 2018. Kunlun, which started in a remote oil town in northwest China, stopped handing payments from Iran because of the sanctions. However, Kunlun still holds an Iranian central bank account into which Chinese national oil companies made about $18 billion worth of the payments for annual oil imports. In June of 2019, China Bank of Kunlun has the Chinese bank that cooperates with Islamic Republic of Iran. It has announced that it will continue its banking transactions with the Islamic Republic of Iran, although using Chinese currency yuan. Mer News agency reported that. And in 2020, the U.S. state of Mississippi listed Bank of Kunlun on his state list of companies doing business with Iranian petroleum, natural gas, nuclear, and military sectors. Holding Bank of Kunlun ineligible for investment or state contracting. The Western politicians know exactly what happened in Iran, and they know CCP and Iran's close financial, economic, and military ties. That's why Western diplomats have mounted pressure on CCP to prevent Iran from escalating tensions in the Middle East, with a direct retaliatory strike against Israel. However, whether it is a Chinese Communist Party country or Iran, as a country ruled by a dictator, the Chinese people and Iranians are victims of this authoritarian system. The only way to bring freedom, democracy, and the rule of law to the people is to eliminate the Chinese Communist Party. Okay, this is all for today, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
Down the CCP, take down the CCP. Follow me and I'ma set us free. Take down the CCP. Let me tell you what I've been through, baby. Lived a life that was hella unfair. Seen things that been driving me crazy. In a country where the leaders don't care. Didn't think we had the courage to change it. Tore it down and they weren't prepared. Everything that they kept us from saying. Now we talking and they better be scared. Take from us. Tell us what and who to love. Swear I finally had enough.